My guest on today's podcast is Ana Márquez. Ana's a top tournament pro with over $2 million in live cashes alone. We're lucky to be able to meet Ana in person today because she's in London for the EPT main event. So let's get straight to it and learn what Ana can share with us about her career and the way she's progressed. Well, Ana, good to see you. And thank you so much for dropping in. I know you're busy because you're going to play in the EPT main event here in London. So we've taken this opportunity to take a moment of your, or few moments of your valuable time. Tell us a little bit about how your year's been so far and what your plans for the rest of the year are after EPT London.
Okay, well, first of all, my pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. My year so far has been really busy. Like, I came out of being locked down, quarantine, and then suddenly, like, back to trips everywhere. So I've actually taken every trip I could do. And now I'm exhausted. So now for the rest of the year, I'm going to try to take it a little bit more chill and then start back again in January or so. I'm going to go to PCA. And then again, massive troubles.
Okay, so and the decision just to play the main event in London is just you trimming back a little bit after an extremely busy period then.
Exactly. Yeah, after APT Barcelona, I was so exhausted, and I really want to like take time for like take care of my health, my routines, and grind a lot of online. And yeah, I was just tired, and I thought, let's just go for the main and enjoy the time there more than just being focused on the full grind. So, and I plan to do the same thing for WSOP Europe. And then EPT Prague, I'm going back again to everything.
Yeah. But right off the bat there, some great advice for anybody listening in, because I think recovery and the need to pace yourself is often underrated, right?
Yeah, very underrated, very underrated.
Yeah, so smart decision. I want, for those people who are less familiar with your career, I want to circle right back to the beginning and ask the familiar question on this kind of podcast, but I want to hear about how you first got into poker.
It was just very standard. Like, I didn't know anything about poker, but I was studying in university in America, and I took a year off because I had to write my thesis and my history thesis, and I wasn't sure what I wanted it to do about, and I had to take the full year instead of a semester because the thesis takes a full year to do. So I took it off, and out of chance, like I saw my friends playing one night. I was like, what is this? I was like, I'm not a big fan of gambling, but I saw it, and my friend was like, it's not so much gambling, it's a strategy. And I really love strategy. I actually wanted to do my master's degree in military history, military strategy. So he recommended me some books, and I started reading, and I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the game, and since I actually had that year off, I started playing a lot, and I fell in love, and I was like, this is all I want to do. And I love the game. I love how it makes me feel. And on top of that, it makes me money. So I was like, maybe I should try it.
Okay, cool. And I'm super curious because I'm a big book reader myself. Which books were you reading at that time?
Super System.
Okay,
Super System. I was like studying Super System like it was like my history textbooks, like highlighting, like writing down the ranges, like memorizing everything. And then the Little Green Book. You remember?
Oh, yes. Wow.
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I forgot that one even existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those were my first two. And then actually, curious, I decided to do my thesis on poker history, tournament poker history.
Okay.
Yeah, starting from the 1970s. So I actually I took the advantage to read every book I could find about poker. And then I went into all the classics, like.
And when you first got into poker, were you a cash game player? Were you online, live, MTTs? Where were you at that point?
I was a bit of everything, but I started with cash, cash live. Like my friends, like took me to a game, a private game around Washington D.C., and there I met some guy. I get Greg Merson actually.
Okay,
right. Actually, and the first like couple of months I was playing. And he was like, oh, we can play online too, because he was starting too. So it was like, He just found out about online as well. And I was like, nice. And like, I went online. So I started playing online too. And I was probably playing cash games, like low stakes, like 1, 2, 2, 5 live. And then online I was playing 25, 50 cents, I remember, and then 50 cents a dollar for like maybe 1.5 years or something like that. And then I went into sit and goes. And after sit and goes, I found out tournaments. And then everything changed.
Okay, tell me about that then. So what the way you speak about that, it seems like tournaments just lit you up. What was it?
Well, tournaments are my love, you know. I've actually been playing a lot of cash lately, but I just love them. I love tournaments. It's like the excitement, the competition, the adrenaline, you know. So I really like them. But yeah, I don't know. I started playing some tournaments, and then I was playing the same game on the side, like going a lot to Atlantic City and like playing cash games, kind of like rounders. I started a little bit like rounders, but yeah, and then like I was playing in online tournaments for a while, maybe like 2-3 years or so, and then I went to my first live tournament, which was crazy because it was PCA and with 26 people left or something like that. I was chip leader.
Oh, wow.
3 million for first.
Did you say that was your first live tournament?
Okay, not exactly my first live tournament. It was my first main event because I did play the ladies one time before that. And I think I played maybe like 3 or 4 small like Venetian 300, 500, something like that. So it wasn't really the first, but it was the first time I went to an EPT to play. It was the first main event. It was the first big buy-in. Because I actually I wasn't gonna go, but I did quite good online during Christmas.
Yeah.
Because I will go in Christmas. I will go see my family, and I was like grinding all day long. So I did pretty good, and I also like almost satellite into it 2 times. I lost a heads up for the satellite, and then like I also bubbled another satellite, and then I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go, and I did, and that's how my life.
Decision.
Yeah, that's how my tournament live poker started. You know. So.
Yeah. And given that you were playing a lot of online poker, how did you find playing in a proper live tournament? Did you find that an easy transition to make, or some people struggle with the mechanics?
Yeah, no, it wasn't easy. Like there was things that were quite different. To start with, I was really nervous because the setup, you know, like so many people, cameras, like top players, everything was super intimidating, you know. And that was like the first thing. Like I remember, like when I was sitting down, I kept telling myself, it was like, just think you're like in the 1-2 game, you know, like just think, because it was my most experienced life. Like I wasn't even thinking about the tournaments online. I was thinking about the presence and about how to hold myself. And I was thinking, just think it's a long cash game. Just think it's a long cash game. Just keep going. And then on terms of like the game itself, for example, like making bluffs, 3-betting light. Like 3-betting light was really tough. Like I wasn't, because like you're like, I'm 3-betting you and I'm looking at you, you know, like you can see like if I got it or not, you know. So it was a transition. But the more experience I gained, like I overcame all these issues. So
excellent. So at some point, you obviously, you know, having got into the game recreationally, you made the decision to become a professional. Tell me about that. When did that happen? What was it that really moved you definitively in that direction?
Actually, I never saw myself as a recreational.
Okay.
Like, because I'm a very methodical person, and as I say, I don't like to just like waste my money without knowing what I'm doing with it. So I actually studied before I start playing. Like I read the books. I started playing play money in absolute poker. Like I started like practicing a little bit. And when I felt ready, that's when I went into the game. And I already had like in my head like bankroll management, like how to do things right. And I don't know, I talked with my dad. My dad was like scared, obviously, because he was like, why are you playing poker? What is this? And I was like, Dad, no, there's a way to do it, like to become professional. And I gave myself like that whole year.
Yes.
And I said, well, if I can make it, then if I do good, then maybe I consider it. Then I went back to school. I finished my thesis. And Sorry, that year I wasn't deciding. That year I just tried and everything, but I was taking serious. Like I wasn't going there just like to have a good time. Like I wanted to build my bankroll and everything. Then I finished my thesis, and then I told my family, like I was like, so give me 1 year to see if I can make a living out of this. And if not, I'll go into the master's degree. I actually applied. I wanted to come to London School of Economics was one of my choices, and I applied. I did the exams for it and everything, so I was ready to go into the master's degree. But I took that year, and it went pretty good. So I was just so happy. So I decided to take it like serious.
So, having made poker your career, just share with us what have been the biggest challenges on the journey since you've formally turned a professional.
I guess finding stability, balance, those were the toughest ones, because it was very intense. Like a lot of traveling, a lot of playing, like really tunnel vision, living in different countries. So yeah, I think like my social life was like also hurting a little bit. But yeah, I think like finding balance and stability was like the biggest challenges that I found when I was doing everything along the process.
Yeah, because I mean, from the outside, the life of a particular live tournament pro seems very glamorous. You're traveling the world and so on, but the hours are
crazy.
huge. They're so demanding, and that's true if you're playing online as well. Share with us a little, how you cope with that. How did you find that stability and balance?
I'm not even sure. I still haven't found it, but I've been working on it. I mean, it's like when I started like working on my mindset. It's like when I started seeing things more clear about how everything have to happen, because I hit burnout. I reached burnout. And when I reached burnout, I realized that I needed to stop and do things better, and plan trips better, take resting time, nourish my mind, my body, like be more healthy, do sports, because I didn't used to do anything, and yeah, and I don't know, just. It's tough because also like when you travel so much and change countries and everything, like keeping friendships is tough. Like see my family stuff. Like I have to plan my trips so I get to see my family. I don't take almost no vacation. Like if I take vacation, it's because I go see my family. So yeah, little by little, doing the best I can, I guess.
Because this podcast is around mindset, I'm particularly interested when you said things you do to nourish your mind. Just could you share with us some of the techniques you use, the approaches you use to do
that? For my mind, I think the most important thing is meditating.
Yeah,
meditating is so important. I started meditating maybe 2013 or so. But another thing that I've had problems with is consistency.
Yeah.
Because with such a hectic life, it's tough to like keep the same routines and be consistent with a lot of stuff. Like, as I said, with meditating, with going to yoga classes, or even to the gym, like eating healthy. All this consistency has been tough because all the changes constantly. So. But yeah, meditating, I started then, and I mean, meditating teaches you patience because it's such a slow process, and like you see the improvement very slow, very little by little. And the more I did it, with the years that passed, I realized that it's key. It's key. It's crazy. Like every time I have like a real consistent routine of meditation, I always score. After like if I spend like 2 months like before going to Vegas or some tournament, and I've been doing my meditation right, just with the meditation, I go and crash. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned meditating, and it's interesting you mentioned consistency as well, because one of the things I work on a lot with my clients, a lot of whom play a lot online and then go to live tournaments, is this issue of, you go to the venue and you kind of almost get sucked into this whole event, and all your routines can go out of the window. And there's a real skill, isn't there, in actually be able to say, wait a minute, how do I make sure I do these things? Like it might be meditation, it might be yoga, finding some way of exercising. And sometimes it just can't be the same thing that you do at home. It can't be the same duration.
Yeah.
It can't be the same type of thing. But it's planning and making sure that when you go on the road, you keep hold of some of those good routines to make sure you can replicate what your best routines are on the road. Is that something you consciously plan now when you go on tournament stops?
Yes. I mean, I've gotten better with time, no? And the meditation is easy because now, after years, I know how to do it and everything. I don't need, even though I do it by myself, but I also really like to use Elliot's Prime Mind app. Yeah, right before the tournament. I think
Perfect.
Yeah, it puts me in the mindset. But I don't know. Sometimes I carry in my suitcase things to work out in the room. Go to the gym. I go around with a lot of my own food, like my snacks and everything. But yeah, it's planning. It's planning and finding the time, because also there's another factor that is not only is the social factor, not only professional. You come to, as I said, it's tough to have friends in the places you live because you travel so much. But then I have a lot of friends around the circuit and around the world. And when I come to these tournaments, I want to see them and I also want to hang out with them. So it's tough to do your routines, go play your best, and then also go see your friends. And it's you're a little bit in a rush with everything. You can accomplish it for sure. But yeah, you have to do planning and you have to come very focused to the event. So
yeah, it's something I've definitely, again, encountered with my clients, that sometimes there's this balance between seeing a tournament stop as a place where you get a return on investment and somewhere where you actually can have a good time. I mean, I remember speaking to somebody around EPT Barcelona this year, and he said, I really got into Barcelona. It was such a great place, but almost he found it a bit of a distraction. Is that something you've just touched on one of the issues there, and there's a social aspect, which is great and probably makes the job even more enjoyable. Yeah. But at the same time, as you say, it can be a distraction.
Yeah,
How have you gone about balancing that now?
I mean, it's changed over the years. Depends. When I was living in Vienna, for example, all my friends were around me more often, so it would be less distracting. Now, for example, I see them less, so I'm really excited to see them. So I try to find for example, if I pass a tournament or if I've been grinding and then I passed, I try to find them and hang out and do relaxing things just to see them, Yeah. Because also live poker can be very exhausting. So it's nice to get to hang out at the end of the day and go have dinner with your friends or something relaxing. But the cities itself, to be honest, I never see them.
Right.
I go there, I play. It's a pity, but very, very little times I see actually the cities I'm going to. And yeah, partying is pretty much out of the question too, because you don't want to drink a lot of alcohol and then go play and then mess up everything, So I just try to do it in the most relaxed way to see my friends, and that's it.
So yeah, there we have it, everybody. That's an encapsulation of the professional's mindset. You're not there to see the city. If you can, that's nice. But first and foremost, you're there to play and be your best.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes a reality which, I've had people approach me coming into poker and they still have this view that it's glamorous and it's just fun. And for sure, we want to make it fun, don't we? Any job should still have a fun element. Yeah. And poker for most of us is something we got into because we love it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a serious side to this, and it's being able to produce your best when it matters.
I mean, to be honest, for me, what I do is so much fun.
Yeah.
So it sounds boring, but it's not. I enjoy every moment of it, and being with my friends, just being with them is enjoyable. I just having conversations and hanging out, having a coffee or whatever. I don't really know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's times for the fun, and then there's times for being
Yeah.
focused and like. But yeah, I love what I do. So for me, it's a plus. Like if I get to do something extra fun or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, we always like back in the days, like I used to remember like my fun times were like the PokerStars parties, because in the EPTs where I will go and it was fun because you will go to a party with all your friends and that's it. And they used to be at the end of the trip. Like now they've changed it. Now I don't know why they changed it, but but it used to be at the end of the trip, so it was like okay, like we're done and everything. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's like you come here to play and do your best and in general, like you wanna be focused. Like you don't wanna like get too distracted because when you start like getting very distracted, like it like becomes a snowball, you know. Like like take it little by little.
Yeah.
Because sorry, because when I come back home, I want to continue with my good routine because I'm like grinding online. So
For sure. And what comes across there is that the fun for you is just inherently in the game.
Yeah.
The game itself is fun. So it doesn't matter whether you're playing in Barcelona or Prague or whatever, Vegas. The actual glamour, the fun is just playing a great game. And it's a bit of a privilege, frankly, to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I wish everybody in the world could like love what they do so much as I do, you know, because it's like so amazing. It's like you're never working.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, just thinking about your career as a whole, what have been the big moments where you think I've really made a step forward in terms of my growth? And I'm not just talking about when you've made a big score here, because sometimes that's the result of the growth. What are the moments, what are the steps where you thought, you know, I really feel like I've maybe even now with hindsight, you recognize that was a big thing which moved you in the right direction?
I think there was, I mean, it's a process, no? So you have aha moments like all the time, but not, I guess they're not aha. They're more like you can see your process, your progress, like little by little. But if I had like two aha moments, I would say like solvers were one, obviously, because solvers like they opened my mind so much. Like before it was all like my own strategy and like making out like how do I get this, understanding the game by playing it by myself or like by talking to other players, like how do they think, what can I learn from them and everything. But then when solvers came, it was crazy because like you had the answers in front of you and like it was teaching you how to think like the machine basically or like GTO, you know. So that was a big like, oh wow, like these things I'm doing right, these things I'm not doing right. Like okay, like why am I doing this? Why am I? And like everything, it was like the puzzle was like getting made by itself. Like it was really cool to see. Like I think that was like a big moment where I was like, wow, like things, yeah. And then that's in terms of the game. Then in terms of mindset, like it was Elliot. Elliot really like helped me have an aha moment of like what was going on in my head because I was a lot on autopilot, basically. Not autopilot in the sense of like grind, travel, grind, travel, like just like always doing this, like never thinking about anything outside poker. I had like tunnel vision, you know? And then, yeah, when I hit burnout, obviously, like things weren't so like exciting anymore. Like it was like a lot of frustration and everything. And I was kind of losing the love for the game a little bit. And then that's when I seek Elliot. And then Elliot helped me see that I still had the love of the game in me. It was just that I had to work on my mindset because it's tough what I do, you know, what we do like as poker players. And we forget that we have to nourish the mind. And yeah, he actually like made me see hypnosis has made me have like a lot of aha moments because it made me see like I had limiting beliefs and things that were causing me to like not be focused while I play, not want to put the volume I want to put. A lot of things that I thought that maybe it was just me, I was doing things wrong or something. And it was more like beliefs that I had in my head that I had to get rid of, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because, of course, when Solvers came out, everybody who was serious got PO, did a million solutions on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was still that difference between the people who were successful and the people who weren't. And maybe you've just explained one of the big differences, that the people who got their mindset right, it wasn't just about mastering the technical skills. It was then having the mental skills to make sure you could execute and consistently apply that, which made a difference.
Yeah. No, I as soon as I started working on my mindset, it was crazy. Like how many things I would have in my head that I didn't realize they were there, and that they were stopping me. They were stopping me and like doing better. So yeah, that was definitely an aha moment. Hypnosis, Elliot. Yeah.
So let's just talk about the future. What are your ambitions now, looking forwards?
My ambitions is tough because I don't like to look at the future anymore. Like I've grown out of that, and like I'm really in love with the present right now. Like with the everyday grind, with the process. Like I think, like, for example, rankings and like the respect and the credit from the community was something that was always in my head, and it was putting a lot of pressure. Like I was really relaxed poker player, like before I became like number one in Spain in the GPI, and then it was all rankings and have to show everybody, and that put a lot of pressure, and I don't like it. Like I love what I do, and I just want to focus in the present. So basically, my goal is just like keep improving in my game, keep improving with my routines, and keep growing as a person. That's all I care about. And just be happy with the present.
That's good. And just tell me, in terms of how you're going to keep improving, any ideas as that you can share with us as to how you intend to keep growing? What kind of approaches are you using there?
Yeah, I mean, just like I was gonna say perfectionism, but perfectionism is a very dangerous thing, and I am, and I try not to be because it's pointless. Perfection doesn't exist. So, but making my routines, let's say hacking my routines, hacking to what goes good with me. So like I'm learning like when my most efficient hours, for example, of the day are, and then my toughest tasks, I put them in those efficient hours. Like adding new things like that make me feel focused, make me feel good. So everything revolves basically about like creating the best routines. So consistency and things that work. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Mm.
So Anna, what's really come across to me in this interview is you are a meticulous professional. You've spent a lot of time thinking not just about how to improve your technical skills, but how to improve your routines, your consistency. So I'd like you to, if you can, share with us some of your routines. What does your pre-game routine look like? What kind of techniques, if any, do you use in-game to keep yourself focused and to keep yourself in balance? Maybe if things haven't gone to plan, and maybe any post-session routines.
Okay, so depends where I am. No, if I'm playing online, if I'm at home playing online, then what I like to do is on the days I play, meditation always the first thing when I wake up. Then I think the first 2 hours or so, 2 to 4 hours depend. It's where I'm more focused in just like passive learning, basically. Like I watch videos or I watch replays to get set up like for later on the day, put my mind in the game. Then I go do workout. Then I go eat after the workout. Like I try to eat very clean. And then afterwards, like maybe I relax for a little bit, take a little bit nap, and then taking the nap sometimes is tough because my head is like speeding over things I have to do. But I try to take the nap, and then I do a session with Prime Mind right before to get in the game, and then I start grinding. And then you like at least I always need like 1 minimum to 2 hours of like cool down. Like when I finish grinding, my brain is like hands. So sometimes I do a meditation, or sometimes I just I stare at the wall like with a tea or something, like staring at the wall is kind of like meditating, it's just like relaxing or like having a chat with somebody or just being chill. Live poker, a little similar, but like with more short time. So wake up, meditate. If I slept good, if I woke up semi early, I try to do a bit of a gym session or maybe some yoga in the room or something like that. Then I go have breakfast and have a coffee and then go play. And then the same thing for the cool down. The cool down, like I try to like hang out with a friend or something, like I try to take like a chamomile tea or something just to relax.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically structure that in the most efficient way I can do with my time.
Yeah, and I think that's really valuable for everybody listening. What's comes across there is there may be some variability in how you apply it
Yeah.
depending on the environment, but there is a consistent and clear idea about what you do pre and post tournament in order to get yourself A, in the best state of mind to perform, and B, to recover.
Yeah.
To play again the next day.
That actually what you said is quite important. It's like it's important to be flexible. Something that I was saying before, like I've actually had problems with it because I'm very perfectionist, and it's like I want everything to be like this, like that, and I'm learning not to do that. I'm learning to be more flexible. Like if I don't have time for 30-minute meditation, do 10 minutes. Like if you cannot eat perfect because you cannot control your environment, so try to do your best. If you cannot do a full workout session, then like do some push-ups at the room or something.
Exactly.
Just try to be flexible. Like, have like your maximum yourself, like the best, the model of like your best self, and then the model of your minimum self, and like just depending on the day or the circumstances, try to reach one or the other.
Yeah.
But just like try to stay focused on like doing the best you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like I mean, even you can do things like and push them, but they're not gonna have the same effect if you're not like in it. So
exactly. No, I mean, one of the things I work on with clients, I mean, the number one proven tool in behavioral science for goal achievement is scheduling. But I think what a lot of people think scheduling means is an inflexible approach. So if you just say, well, wait a minute, that means I've got to meditate for half an hour, I've got to do this workout, I've got to do that workout, and then you change your environment, for example, to play at a live tournament, some of those things just don't work. You have to have that dynamic ability to say, okay, well, how can I make this work in a different environment? And what you say is true as well. I mean, sometimes it's just going for the minimum effective dose of something. You know, sometimes 5 minutes meditation, just the fact that somebody says, I'm going to do 5 minutes breath work or 5 minutes meditation, they've taken control. They've said, I'm going to take control of my mind and bring that to the day. And that's better than just saying, forget it, I haven't got time to do half an hour meditation. And that's where the perfectionism can come in, can't it? You know, if I can't do a 20-minute meditation, I don't do anything. And that's where perfectionism can sometimes turn into a mistake, an all or nothing kind of approach.
It's paralyzing.
Yeah.
It's paralyzing sometimes,
Yeah. No, I mean, I really love the way you have that overall structure in your mind, but it's super flexibly applied. And that will allow you to avoid the perfectionism, which, you know, it's great. You've got the self-awareness to see that can be, you know, that often is an enemy of high achieving people. But if you can actually be aware of it and respond in the way you have, that's great. You do the things you need to do, but you're also aware enough that you don't have to do them in a precise form.
Yeah, it's interesting with perfectionism because for a long time, like I'm also very hard on myself, which is also a little counterproductive. But I always thought like, well, how can this be a bad thing if to be the best or the best version of yourself or like to be successful, like you have to put everything the best way you can do it. You know, it has to be perfect. Like how is perfectionism a problem? But yeah, I with the years, I'm starting to understand that it doesn't have to be perfect because perfect just doesn't exist.
No, exactly.
It just doesn't.
And the point of a pregame, when we think about what a pregame routine is meant to do, for example, it's meant to bring us to the tables in a calm and energized state. And that calm bit is important. And if you just put too much pressure on yourself with what you're doing in a pregame routine, you miss half of the point of it. You end up agitated.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so no, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing that, Anna, because I think that's, you know, there are people who will say, oh, I haven't got time to do a proper pregame routine. Yes, you have, is the answer. You've always got time to do something. Yeah. It's just about trimming it down to fit the circumstances.
Yeah, it's about putting yourself as you said, like going to the table, being relaxed, like doing what you know how to do, like not putting so much pressure of like doing everything perfect to get there in your A game. No, you have your A game inside you.
Yeah.
Like the more relaxed you are, the more happy, the less you think.
Yeah, exactly.
The more it comes. So.
Exactly. I think the other thing is, I would add, and I don't know whether you've found this, that sometimes your pre-game routine, although there is always going to be a structure, it can vary over time. So it may be that meditation works for a while, but maybe you then go to some breath work for a while, or or you do a little bit of both, but shorter doses. And it's just keeping it fresh. But as long as it gets you in a state where you're calm, you're focused, and you bring the right energy, it doesn't really matter. There's no single formula out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what works for you. Like sometimes when my friends ask me like, oh, what do I do to meditate? How do I start meditating? I always tell them, just try different things, like try different apps, try different techniques or whatever. And you're going to see, like, once you do them on the regular, you're going to see what really works for you. And like what works for you, that's what you want to do. Like, because it's everything you're doing is, as you said, like for your own relaxation or like putting yourself in the best mindset you can. So it doesn't matter the technique. It just matters how it makes you feel and what you accomplish by doing it. So yeah, just try and then change.
Okay, well, that's great advice. Well, thank you, Ana. So many thanks to Ana for sharing her time and her thoughts with us, and for giving us some real insights into the way she has evolved her strategies off the tables to make sure she is able to perform at the highest level. And thank you also for joining me, and looking forward to seeing you soon with the next edition